All right, all right. How is everyone tonight? Hope everyone is doing good. Hope everyone is doing just fine. We're just in for kind of a chill little stream tonight. It's gonna be sketching up some things. And depending on how we feel, we might tackle some more serious kinds of illustrations. I don't know. It's all up in the air. But welcome everyone to the stream. Hey Anna, how you doing? All right. How has everyone's day been? Get some background music going here. That is correct. It is real caffeine hours. Well, maybe for you, not for me so much. For me, my day really only just started. The joys of the graveyard shift. Let's see. There it is. Oh, maybe move that over so it's not covering my chat. There we go. Had to fiddle around with my drawing reference there. Da, da, da. Gonna start by blocking in stuff. It's all gonna look very fuzzy at the beginning. It always does. It's always very fuzzy at the beginning. I don't know if anyone else experiences or has ever experienced this, but always right at the beginning I always have just a little moment of, oh God, I've forgotten everything. Oh God, I don't know how to draw anything. And then then you press on, and that moment passes. Fortunately. One day it won't pass, and then I will be truly up shit creek without a paddle. If you don't think, dear God, what even is a line? Are you really sitting down to do art? I mean, it's true. We're not even really sure what is a line, even. Like, that's a line. Surely that is a line. But I mean, is that a line? Is that a line? Is that a line? Questions. Questions for the artist. Not something that anyone can answer. How do I line? How do I arc? Arc. You just sort of draw a J or a C. Sometimes your J's look like C's. It happens. Yes, that's correct. Unless you're speaking Latin, in which case there's no J. There's no J. Very important to remember that if you are ever trying to get through an ancient Templar booby trap temple and need to spell out the name of God on the floor tiles. Poor Indy, yes. No, like, I mean, falling through the floor to near certain death, that of course is horrible, but for me, it was the leap of faith. Just stepping out onto pure nothingness, or what you think is pure nothingness. Truly, truly terrifying. Do, 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 do. On the other hand, at least getting killed by the leap of faith isn't going to sound as silly in the afterlife as got killed for poor cup selection skills. I mean, you really should have known that it wasn't going to be guilt. Yeah, I like not to try and correct the traitorous Nazi sympathizing bastard, but he really should have known that the Holy Grail was not going to be all covered in gold and shit. Because why would it, right? It's not the eraser. That was my airbrush. Do, 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 do. Let's see. Casually freehanding hand gripping item. What a flex. I mean, I do have a reference pulled up. It's not that much of a flex. And I've drawn plenty of guns. It's just a matter of putting in the time. Let's see. Will you take the compliment, or you will take the compliment and you will like it? No. No, you cannot compliment me. This music kind of sounds like something you'd get out of an old Star Wars game, like Star Wars Rebellion. Even though I'm pretty sure I'm the only person on the planet who played that one. It's a strategy game set in the Star Wars universe, in case anyone was concerned. I played a lot of it when I was younger, even though I was terrible at it. I loved that game. I don't think I won a single session ever. Even when I cheated. Just could not win Star Wars Rebellions. Now comes for the real challenge. Drawing the hammer. I always liked Shadows of the Empire. Was Shadows of the Empire? Was it the first Dark Forces game? Or was that the second one? Dark Forces 2. Oh, my perspective's all wonk on this one. That's my problem. But yeah, Matt, which game was Shadows of the Empire? I do not remember that one. Star Wars Pod Racing is clearly the superior N64 Star Wars game because it has pod racing. You know, I played a little bit of it. I did play a little bit of that, and man, I don't know what it was, but those mechanics, those physics were crazy. Let's see. It had Dash Rendar as the protagonist. I know nothing about the expanded universe, so I was confuzzled AF. Well, Who is Dash Rendar? You yeet your pod racer off one big ramp and you feel like a god. I mean, that's a lot of racing games, though. That's the whole point to racing games. Oh god, it was one of the Hot Wheels games. Hot Wheels Stunt Track Driver. That had some sick ramps. Crazy air. Matt, exactly. I don't want to mess up the flow of the stream. But now I'm gonna have to look up Dash Rendar. I'm gonna have to learn who this gentleman is. That gun looks a little wonk, but I'll live. Had to get a little stretch in there. That's it. That's the head. That's what I'm going with. Thin out the rib cage a little. Of course, that exposes some more of the arm. Fold, contour lining. Skeleton's still a little robust for what I'm thinking. Here we go. The face is now canon. Yes, we will go with that. This cleaned up. Yes, primary weapon. Getting goofy with it. First rule of firearm safety is to have fun. Okay. Torso is still looking a little long. That's fine. Easily rectified. Yeah, right there. Right there. Yeah, that's perfect. That doesn't sound like a good rule. Yes, well, see, you're not the firearms expert. All right. We are getting into the real body construction here. Wait, no, it's not gonna work. Just remembered. I remembered a little detail about my own character. Oh, that back leg is angled wrong. At least according to the reference. You know what? No, I'm going to leave it like that. That's fine. Just means she's leaning further back on one leg. What kind of pose is this? I don't know. She's like taking a step or something. Can't see the butt of the gun. I was going to add a detail, but if we can't see the butt of the gun, there's no point. Do 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 do. Ba ba. Some bike shorts. Okay. I know we've all enjoyed this face, but tragically, do have to actually put a real head in here. Real head could still be wearing a big happy face mask. We'll make that an alt. We'll make that an alternate. Place tabs. Brr, brr, brr. Brr, brr, brr. Brr, 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 brr. Rip happy face, we barely knew you. Oh, hush. You had plenty of time to get to you know it. Shut up. Oh. All right. It sounds like a slow, out of tune Imperial March. Well, you know what, Matt? You can do it yourself next time. Giving me shit. Something Jennings would play. Okay, his name was not Jennings. Shut up. Shut up, Matt. Ooh, look at that bulging forehead. Pull that back a bit. Loving the persistent ghost of happy face. Well, I mean, makes sense, right? I mean, happy face will never leave us. It'll always be there with us in our hearts. Tea. What do I want to do? Bump. Bump. The real happy face was the friends we made along the way. Indeed. Indeed. I wonder, hold on. No sketching. No, I don't like that. Don't really like that either. waiting there in our hearts, ready to scare the shit out of our surgeon when we need a stent put in. Yes. Yes. It's true. That was Happy Face's real plan all along. It's just to curl up inside you, make friends, and then utterly terrify the poor surgeon you get next time you have surgery. Man is the warmest place to hide. He is. Just crawl up inside them guts. Alright. It's not a dog. Yeah. I remember reading a Cracked article about that, about the movie The Thing. And the Cracked article was trying to be all, oh, the movie wouldn't have happened if the Americans had just been able to speak Norwegian. Because that's what the Norwegian guy is yelling, is it's not a dog, it's a thing. But at the same time, if some whacked out foreign guy came up on your base, shooting wildly in the vague direction of a dog, and then when you tried to reason with him, he yelled at you, it's not a dog, it's a monster. Would you really believe him? Or would you believe that this was just some poor gentleman who was off his meds? I don't speak Swedish. It's true. I liked in the 2011 version when it's like, oh yeah, and there's this guy, oh yeah, and this guy, he doesn't speak English. I was like, oh great, it's a bilingual scientific expedition. You're going to be stuck in the fucking South Pole for like 6 months or whatever. You found the one guy in Norway who doesn't speak English. Good job. Norwegian, Mac. Let's be honest here. If an American science crew heard, we've got a completely novel form of life in that base, but it eats people, just so you know, I'm fully convinced they'd still have gone in for science. It's true. It's true. We would have. I would have been leading the charge. Just be like, hell yeah. Let me at them aliens. I need to see them ale mouths. Also, has anyone ever noticed that Norwegians really get the short end of the stick in horror literature? Between them and that poor Norwegian shipping vessel in Call of Cthulhu. It's just, Norwegians just minding their own business and then running across horrible, horrible things. A strong argument for not living in Norway. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. Pros to living in Norway. I mean, it's Norway. Cons to living in Norway. Increased chance of encountering horrible abominations from beyond the stars. Of course, I also like the one reaction for that one cook. Is just, maybe we're at war with Norway. Functionally similar to living in Maine, according to Stephen King. Yeah, Maine is full of two things, according to Stephen King: monsters and abusive dads. Which I don't even know where King got that from. He didn't know his dad. His dad left when he was 6. So I mean, like, absentee dad. Yeah, it's pretty rough. But where are you getting all this abusive stuff from, Stevie? That doesn't fit at all. Damn it. That's what I get for not paying attention. The whole composition, not just the parts you're working on. Oops. Keep that up. Okay, there we go. Nice. spread those out a little. There we go. Derp. Don't forget those. Go. Hello. I think someone left. Look like without that. Okay. Little contouring. Little contouring. Pardon me. Sorry I've been quiet. I've been really focused on this. The moment when you realize the focus has arrived, and it's also been like 4 hours and you haven't moved your neck the entire time. Yes. Very much so. Almost dropped my drink. Don't want to do that now. Somebody keeps popping in and out. I suspect Matt, because he's been so quiet. I is always here. Oh, right. You're probably right, Anna. It's probably the disconnect reconnect problem. That YouTube just cannot seem to fix. I mean, there's lots of things about YouTube that they can't seem to fix, but that is also one of them. Hmm. This is reminding me of Kara. I mean, that's fair. This is one of my older characters, Danny. She's been with me since 2012. I think 2012 was when I first drew her. Should probably break down and give her an ear. Her knee looks shocked. Shoot. I forgot what it is. Truly shooketh. Yes. Truly shooketh. I don't think people say shooketh anymore, though, Matt. Suddenly bear. Niece said, oh. All right, well, get ready, because we're going to do the same thing with the other one. It's just going to be looking off to one side. Oh, in profile. One day I'm going to figure out how I want to actually do these joints. One day. But today is not that day. Sci-fi detailing is something you just feel in your heart. It doesn't have to make sense. I mean, that can be true. I just haven't quite mastered the art of bullshitting detail. Kill the bottom layer. Yeah. That's pretty good. I should outline the gun a little more. You feel it in your heart right next to the spring-loaded happy face. Yes. Yes, right next to it. Right next to it. This gun is not cocked. Not cocked. It only occurs to me now that I have drawn this gun with the hammer down. There we go. Better. Better, 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 better. Whew. Went a little cross-eyed there for a second. For the staff of can't shut up, Matt. No, I'm not reading that out loud. You go fuck yourself, sir. Just because you put it in a game doesn't mean you can get me to read it aloud on YouTube. Poor Lucas. I mean, yeah, it is kind of a bummer that he didn't have like the cool wizard staff, but how many times do you get to say you went to the Magic Spencers? Those arms are different widths. I don't feel like redrawing it. Maybe a bit too much of cowlick there. We're not going full 90s here. Now I take it all away. Okay. Good little stretch there. No, those are all right. Those eyes are okay. Wasn't 100% about the eyes at first, but I think I gaslit myself into believing they're fine. What does this look like again? Was that? Nah, boring. This. Nah. Nah. About you? Nah. Gonna go with old reliable. Big anime eyes. Come on now. What's going on? That slightly smaller. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Come on, give me that. There we go. Cool. Oops. Very quickly, let me put these on a different layer. There we go. Now we continue. Well, what do you guys think so far? Of the picture, I mean. Eyes are looking good. I gotta be up early for me tomorrow, so I'm going to head out, try to get some sleep. But would love to see the finished product when it's done. Well, it's only gonna take me maybe another hour. I was only gonna go for like another 30 minutes or so anyway, but it won't take me that too terribly long to finish inking this. And we can color it another day. But if you need to head out, you go right ahead. Completely understand the need to get plenty of sleep. Had to step off for a minute to have a food and came back to a whole entire face. Yes. Yeah, that is unfortunately what can happen when you are busy attending to the base needs of your disgusting mammalian form. You gross mammal, you disgust me. From the moment I knew the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. I crave the certainty and strength of steel. I mean, who doesn't at this point? Customizable robot bodies win. We see now we're getting just a little too close to eclipse phase, and that is also not good. For reasons that I will elucidate at some point whenever you get me on an eclipse phase rant. And as we all know, the Jovians did nothing wrong. I'm going to add some hair behind here. There we go. There's literally never a bad time to goad your friend into giving the TED Talk they have locked and loaded on a given subject. What's the eclipse phase and why is there a rant? Okay, so eclipse phase. All right, hold on. Sorry. Nerd rant. Okay, so eclipse phase is a extensive TTRPG set in a post-human future where we have gone off and we've begun to colonize the rest of the Sol system after tragically nuking Earth into a cinder, you know, as you do in science fiction. Well, so right as the colonization started, we developed the ability to completely scan a human brain and copy the personality into another body. However, when the nuclear sterilization of Earth began, we didn't have the capacity to build enough starships to get off Earth. So instead of doing that, we basically fired giant 3D printers off at Mars and then just began beaming our personalities over that way. Now, this was just sort of accepted as a thing by most of Sol society. We just sort of accepted that everyone from that first generation was a copy. Except they didn't think of themselves as that. They thought of themselves as the original. And so it became acceptable amongst most of Sol society to just, you know, like make a copy of your personality. It's called forking. You make a fork of your personality and have it go do something else. Like, oh man, I really don't feel like doing my taxes today. I guess I'll make a fork of my personality and enslave myself to do this thing that I don't actually want to do. And I'll come back later and maybe I'll reabsorb the personality and like try to incorporate the two experiences. Or maybe I'll just delete it. Or maybe worse, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave this copy of my personality somewhere to go do some task that no one wants to do, like being the automated security system for a door. And then this led to just people just deciding that they didn't want to live in the squishy, fleshy, bipedal, two-handed meat sacks they'd been born with. They had just, we're gonna turn myself into a spider with like 9 hands and 12 eyes and steel cables coming out of my butt. That's what I'm gonna do. That's how I want to live my life. And this is like the norm for society in this horrible, horrible post-human future, except for one faction called the Jovians. They're called that because they live out around Jupiter. And they're a little conservative, even kind of by modern standards. It's kind of what happens when one of your founding factions is what remains of the Catholic Church. But, they're not like crazy religious zealots, most of them. Some of them are, but not all of them. In fact, like their premier, like their prime minister, their head of state is for a very long time been atheists. Like they're a default atheist state. They just kind of have some Catholic influence. And they're like the only faction in Eclipse phase to look at all of these people who are just making copies of their personality and sending it off to go do things and then like frying their original bodies. And the Jovians are the only ones to watch all of that and go, oh my God, this is horrible. You're not you anymore if you do that. I know you think you are. You have all of like the memories, but it's not you. The original was destroyed. Don't you see? That's murder. And you get the feeling that the writers really kind of wanted to make the Jovians into the bad guys, but no, like from anyone who's not a fucking lunatic looking at this, you look at the Jovians and you're like, hey, maybe they have a point. Anyway, the Jovians did nothing wrong. Rant over. I'm all worked up now. Okay, so when are we playing this game? It's Butt Cables or Bust. I'm not running that. I'm not adjudicating your like 9 different forms. You can have Matt run that. I am not running Shadowrun where everyone is a shape-shifting technomancer. Shadowrun with full party Mystic Adepts it is. Got it. God, no. I mean, I'd play in that game. I'd play as the one Street Sam cyborg. Name of the game is now how many of the adepts can justify being of a possession tradition for those sweet, sweet spirit stat buffs. You realize, of course, if you do that, your GM is perfectly justified in making you fight dragons every other run. You say that like campaign built around hunting the dragons puppeteering society doesn't sound rad as hell. I mean, it could be really fun. I don't know how long it'd last. Also, what do you mean the dragons puppeteering society? The dragons aren't doing that. That's paranoid. The dragons are our friends. You mean they're not the only one doing it, but, well, I mean, yes, that's true. There's also elves. Elves are also piloting society, puppeteering society. Besides which, you look me in the eyes and tell me that the endgame boss fight is socking Lofweir so hard his wings fall off doesn't appeal mightily. I mean, it does, but good luck. I've seen his stat block. Oh fuck, there's no brass ejector. I need an ejection port. Where's the brass gonna come from? Clearly the future really does use caseless ammunition. Yeah, that's not cool though. My vision of the future doesn't care about what's practical. It cares about what's cool and aesthetic. You can't see it, but on the reference I'm using, they're basically using a Nerf gun that doesn't have a brass ejector. It's part of why I forgot about the ejection port. Do 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 do. Behold the future. Trigger discipline. Yes. Yes. Trigger discipline is like kerning. Once you learn to recognize it, you can't unsee it. And when it's bad, it drives you crazy. Did you know that trigger discipline, tell about the 1950s, wasn't really a thing? Like, they just didn't teach trigger discipline, even in the military. Which, at least to me, slightly terrifying. I didn't know, but that tracks. Yes. Yes, it does, doesn't it? This perhaps explains a lot of the rampant futtery in all the gun community. I'll take the time to fix this now. Nah. Leave that hair alone. back and shoulders are very stiff today. Having to take a lot of stretches to work it out. Yet another reason for the robot bodies. Having bones and joints and a spine was a colossal mistake as a species. I mean, I like my bones. Not really sure what you want me to say about that. I like my bones. Okay, then meet me in the middle here. Lich ritual win. I mean, I'm fully about the lich rituals. Badass undeadery with magic slinging. Fucking sign me up. I can be okay with having bones if I can also reinforce said bone with hearts most foul. I mean, yes. Deep down, isn't that what we really all want? Glorious, magnificent, rotting putrescence, backed up by art's most heinous. Really, the only choice is, do you want, like, sexy vampire undead? Or do you want rotting, skull-leering lichdom undeath? If the grimoire doesn't scream when it opens, I don't want it. That's true. That's true. There's a bunch of DIY tutorials on YouTube about how to make take a normal book and turn it into some kind of fancy grimoire style prop. Maybe I'll follow one of those one day and see if I can't add one of those little devices that screams when you open it. Neither. I'm partial to towering colossus of metal and bone undeath personally. You know, that also works. That is also a perfectly valid choice. In your vehicle through eternity, that is your undead flesh. Water. I'm going to finish these legs up and then we're probably going to call it good. Probably take me another 10-20 minutes. BRB. Okay. In context here, I gotta say, getting the DoorDash guy to show up with more energy drink would be a lot cooler if I was a lich. I could then say I'd made a deal with dark powers to procure potions. Potions of Zoom. I mean, you can just say that. It's not like anyone's gonna fact check you, right? Honestly, at this point, I think I've arrived at would be cheaper to buy them by the case, but I'm not sure that's the person I want to be. I mean, it sounds to me like that's the person you already are. I don't know how to be the bearer of bad news in this situation, but it sounds to me like you're already there. Right. That's pretty good right there. All right, and we are over the 2 hour mark actually. So I think we're going to call it good for tonight. Uh, Thank you, uh, everyone who stopped by, Anna, Matt, and thanks to anyone who might be watching this later on at home. Hope everyone had fun. And you guys have yourselves a good night. Take care. Bye bye.